name is Carrie Chisholm.
My name is Byron Spice.
Hi, my name is Clea.
My name is Cheryl Platz.
My name is Brad Myers.
I'm Ann Watsman.
My name is Drew Davidson, and I was at the last lecture.
And I was at the last lecture.
And I was at the last lecture. What was being there like?
Crazy. There's a very big crowd, I think bigger than they expected.
Some of my former students who had known him for many years flew in, especially for the lecture.
It was a charged atmosphere.
A little bit of, sadness because everybody knew that this was his last lecture.
But he came out and he absolutely shocked everybody, and he said, "I'm sorry if you thought I was going to be ill. I'm sorry to disappoint you."
And I think we were actually one of the last set of people to actually get into it.
There was literally the fire marshal was there.
What stuck with me was the impact he managed to have just sharing his experiences.
You're always left with the courage that Randy displayed. I mean, he was always a very open guy, always a showman.
And I really like that I get kind of a reminder of this when I'm on campus, is that the brick walls are there to show us how much we want something.
I think that Randy did a lot, not just for Carnegie Mellon, but for the city of Pittsburgh. I think it was recognition of him that brought more recognition to Pittsburgh.
But the power of just a simple, really well delivered lecture, to this day, has an impact.
Is there a story you want to share?
And I said, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work for a university there called Carnegie Mellon. And she said, "Oh, Carnegie Mellon, that's where Randy Pausch was from." And she proceeds to tell me about how she watched the last lecture and just thought it was such a great story. And I told her that I was there, and it was just, she was amazed, and we had this connection, in Athens, Greece, and it was just incredible.
We've had people call in because they've heard about the last lecture and they want to, you knew Randy, tell me about him, or I want to come to school even though I've never been to school ever. And I'm like, well, you need to get an undergraduate degree, we're a graduate program, and they're like, oh, you're the brick wall.
The story went so big in the news media. We were in the Wall Street Journal, we were on Good Morning America, which no one really had expected. And I think from that point on, Randy probably could have spent the rest of his life just doing interviews.
That's all I did for 2 years, was communicate with the entire world. People called me from Ecuador. Is there anything that I can do for Randy?
Why do you think it's important that first-year students at CMU have the chance to read the book?
And so I think with students coming in and reading that book, what I think feels so CMU about that is there's a lot of acknowledgement about what's important about CMU, and I think a big part of that is just our community.
I think that it's nice that they get to read it, because then they get to know about Randy. Randy was ultimately CMU.
At the core of working in an interdisciplinary environment is understanding that problems are bigger than any one person, and you need other people's expertise to create something bigger than any one of you could have individually. One
of the things about Carnegie Mellon is people here address problems in the real world. And you don't get much realer than, how do you live your life and how do you ultimately face death?
It's talking about how you can be your best self, and Carnegie Mellon is the kind of place that challenges you to be the best that you can be.
Thinking about it 10 years, to us a lot, we were thinking it's less about sort of a memorial and more about a celebration.
But seldom do people really outside the university get to know a professor in the almost intimate way that people got to know Randy.
If you want it badly enough, you could overcome almost any obstacle. And I think that's the thing that stays with me. And I hope that that's one of the messages that the young people who read this book come away with when they come to Carnegie Mellon. You work hard, and there's nothing that's beyond your reach, nothing that's beyond your grasp.